Well, I think I've told you at one time or another that when we used to watch the Miss America contest, and that was very popular when I was growing up, each of the contestants were asked if they could have one thing, what would they want that to be? And almost all of them said world peace. And it's probably not what they thought about much during their regular everyday life, but it is something that deep down I think all of us wish for. We have so many atrocities going on in our world today that when I talked about in my little introduction, Amnesty, I'm not talking about Amnesty International. I'm talking about forgiveness and a fresh start, a clean slate. And when I'm talking about amazing mercy, that would call for amazing mercy. And I am not approaching the world state right now. I would love, and I know you would love, to have someone able to snap their finger and create a clean slate and all of us start all over again, but with people being held accountable for what they have done in the past, and for that to be fair and just and not reflect revenge, but reflect justice. I'm, on the other hand, talking about something much more personal and much more psychological for you. And that is, if you harbor hatred in your heart and you have a grudge against someone, that will, I said in the introduction, eat at you. That's frequently how it's put. That it will gnaw away at you. It will consume you. It will make you unable to experience joy. It will give your power away to the other person. And so many of you realize this, and then so many of you don't. You've heard the expression forgive and forget. And I'm not an advocate of that at all. I think forgive and remember is much more realistic. I want you to be able to remember all of your life. As a kind of an aside, one of the things that I have heard said is in working with PTSD with soldiers who have committed atrocities. And we know that has happened in some of our wars, that some of our soldiers just, well, I guess we might refer to certain wars, but I don't want to do that. But there are certain wars in which atrocities we know took place. Villages got shot up, women got parts of their body bombed off, and just whole villages of civilians, and just things that you wouldn't want to think about, or we didn't really see in the papers, but have come out later. So some of those people have had post-traumatic stress syndrome, and a lot of others in the service have had it on a milder basis. But for those who have participated in atrocity, the process involves some hypnotism, in which the hypnotist said to the client, the victim, the patient, pretend that your captain commanded you to do that, and that you had absolutely no choice, and take that into your psyche and make it real. And under hypnosis, the person would do that. So the psychiatrist in the service said, when you hypnosis people, finish with them, send them to us, and we'll get them in touch with reality. So that is in some ways a little illustration about how denial is not really a good way to handle times when someone has harmed you or you have harmed someone. that it's important to remember. And I think that the examples of this might include, and this is very hard for me to say, a couple who comes in for therapy and one person in the relationship has been unfaithful. And that breaks up many relationships, and probably there are other things going on that make it logical to not stay necessarily in that situation. However, there are some situations in which the person asks for forgiveness, is willing and ready to start afresh and recommit, and is remorseful, and the partner has a choice of forgiving and pardoning that person and going ahead with the relationship without bringing it up constantly or being absorbed with it. And in many cases, there is a healing of relationships like that. It's not easy. Other examples would be where there has been child sexual abuse or child abuse from a parent or a friend of a parent, a relative. And that has been particularly amplified, I guess I would say, by the fact that it has remained secret in most families, and the fact that the child, if they report it, has often been told they don't know what they're talking about. Very sad. That part is very sad and very damaging. So there's no one to really take up for the child and make sure that that never happens again, and to tell them how brave they were to tell. In a situation, the amazing mercy around that would be if you, as the harmed person, could see where the other person took on their habit, took on their pattern. It would truly be amazing, but it is possible to look at their family of origin and see what they went through, or to look at their situation and see what they were attuned to. And there is this phrase that we hear in songs and in sayings that there but for fortune go you or I. And as we judge other people, as we judge maybe someone we see on the street panhandling, we may think that there but for fortune go you or I, and realize how fortunate we are. And also in our more personal moments to realize that if we hold on to the hatred and if we hold on to grudges, that it is giving our power away. The person that is the object of your hatred has the power. Because you're obsessed with them, you're preoccupied with them, they, in a way, are holding you hostage. So finding a way to pardon and let go, or forgive and let go, is very therapeutic for you, if not for the other person. The other person may or may not benefit from it, but you will. And you will be able to go on with your own life. And that's what I see in therapy, is people striving to, one, if they can, come to a merciful forgiveness. And if they cannot, if there is no mercy that they can find from that person's growing up patterns or societal patterns, if there's no mercy that they can find, to have that amazing ability to forgive out of their own need to let go. So that is the message I'll leave you with. I think that it is highly likely that both that and national, global kinds of changes will require some spiritual adjustment. And it would be so wonderful if we could snap a finger and have each person dedicated to their spirituality. But so many people are cut off from their spirituality and not even aware that that is a part of their makeup. So do take the time for yourself to, as people say in Alcoholics Anonymous, turn this over to your higher power, and a way will be found for you to go forward. And for those of you who do not believe in a higher power, then you might want to say, as Maslow has got levels of development, you might want to say, turn this over to your self-actualization, because the actualized self realizes that you cannot hold a grudge. So that's where I'll stop today. And it's not the most joyful subject, but it is a subject that blocks your joy. So as the spring, I want to concentrate on joy. I do want to spend a little bit of time on what blocks us from having our joy, and then look at what contributes to having our joy. So we'll have kind of a spring series on joy, and look at countermeasures and look at measures. So I look forward to next week. Maybe we'll have something that contributes to joy. Thanks. Bye-bye.